In our last video, we took a kind of nerdy look at how the USA is structured to ensure that small, independent political parties, or third parties as they are often called, consistently fail. So who did this, you ask? Well, the founders of the USA did it. And why? Because they were worried about money, including their money. They were also concerned about ordinary people who were, well, worried about money too. In 1786 and 1787, a big crowd of farmers shut down the courts of western Massachusetts. Those courts were about to seize their land because they failed to pay taxes. But they couldn't afford to pay their taxes. They were sunk in debt and had been since the end of the American Revolution, when the new government paid off its soldiers in IOUs and reneged on interest payments to patriots who had bought continental bonds. This wasn't the first revolt. In 1783, 400 Continental soldiers surrounded the state capital of Pennsylvania, demanding to be paid. It's telling that at the end of the Revolution, $3 Continental bills bore the inscription, Exodus in dubio est. The outcome is uncertain. It certainly was. The nation's first constitution, the Articles of Confederation, was more of a decentralized league of states than a coherent government. Not a few of the leaders of the revolution wanted a constitution designed to protect property, especially the property of the better off, from what they saw as the rabble. In a series of essays called the Federalist Papers, Alexander Hamilton and James Madison outlined their vision. In Federalist number 10, Madison warned that one of the greatest enemies of governments were factions, which he defined as groups of citizens organizing in opposition to other citizens or the community. There are all kinds of factions, Madison noted in the essay: factions about religion, the organization of government, factions organized around particular leaders. But, Madison declared,
the most common and durable source of factions has been the various and unequal distribution of property. Those who hold and those who are without property have ever formed distinct interests in society.
The question for Madison was how to protect property holders in a democracy from those envious of their wealth. And the answer was to create a system in which elected men, and they were all men back then, represented large geographic areas, not small ones where some radical faction could hold sway. This would protect property holders from what Madison called unworthy candidates, and what we might more sympathetically call advocates for social justice. Social justice for, well, as Madison put it, people without property, workers, tenant farmers, maybe even slaves. The Constitution that was ratified in 1788 was made to order from Madison's perspective. Back then, the Constitution stipulated that House districts would represent at least 30,000 people, which was a lot of people to represent. Today, the average House seat represents over 700,000 people, and even bigger districts for senators, 2 for each state. No wonder, then, that in the constitutional republic that Madison and Hamilton designed, political movements on behalf of the propertyless have always faced an uphill battle. In our next video, we'll look at 2 political parties that in the 19th century tried to advocate for the poor and the oppressed. Neither made it to the White House, but one of them made the USA a better place, I think, while the other, despite its best intentions, made this country worse.